What is up, guys? Welcome to the Boston and the Brit podcast. My name is Shane Vitko, alongside the ever so beautiful and talented co-host and fiance, Miss Kat Daya.
You got my name right. Woo!
I had to write it down, but
yeah,
thank you.
I was thinking. Well, thanks for that intro, babe.
Yeah.
That was really nice of you. That's probably the nicest thing
Sometimes you build shit up a little bit more than you need to, but
yeah,
it's all good.
So
yeah, I mean, I feel like this was something that we had talked about doing for a while, and we wanted to make sure we, kind of got one in the books before we left LA.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people have said, like, I wish you guys did a podcast. I think it would be cool to hear you and Kat and blah, blah, blah. So
mainly Kat.
And,
I mean, they hear a lot of you in Deviant Gentlemen. I'm just saying, I have had a lot of requests, right?
Right. And I just feel like for you to have come on there just wasn't like the fit for where that goes. So this gives us the ability to talk about us and talk about relationships and why it's, why people pretend, why people find it hard to find what we appear to have, right? Which we do, but like I said, a lot of people appear to have this shit through social media, but when you talk to them in real life, you go, holy fuck, that's what's really going on.
Right.
So I think, this is an avenue for us to try, and we can make it like we said, where it's like, some funny stuff about what it's like and why we goof around and do the things that we do. And, when I call you a fucking asshole and shit, and people see that and go like, I can't believe you let him talk to you like that. And it's like, you know me, and you know my face, and you know my reaction. You know it's not real, and it's just how I talk. And I think that's one of the biggest things of our relationship is that I allow you to be you, and you allow me to be me with no judgment or no like, hey, I need you to fix this. Because in a lot of times in relationships, it's like, hey, I love all this stuff about you, but let's try to fix this one thing so that you conform to what I want.
Exactly. Right. You've never ever once tried to fix me, except for my British accent. That's a whole different story. You do try and change the way I speak. So now you take the mickey out of it. Or
no, I don't change it. I just go like, let me see your best accent in this. And it's always British or Irish or Scottish. But
it's pretty good, though. I mean, I did win that accent challenge that we did the other day.
Let me hear your New York accent.
New York.
Like, say this, like,
go on.
I want to get a coffee and make sure it doesn't have any water in it.
I want to get I want to get a coffee and make sure it doesn't have any water. That was terrible. Wait a minute. Let me try it again. Let me go upstate New York and get a coffee.
No, you don't want to go upstate. You want to be in the city. I want Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. I've never been to Brooklyn. That's like over the bridge, right?
It doesn't matter.
Cool
You're on the
spot.
fucking spot. You want to act. You want to make it in Hollywood. Action.
I mean, I don't want to act, but action. Let's go. Give me some fucking coffee right now. Let me get some of that hot croissant on the side of the place. Yeah,
it's not bad.
It's pretty good. I
mean, they go coffee and we say coffee. In Boston.
Coffee.
So New York is coffee, Boston's coffee. And then they say water, and we say water.
And what do I say?
Water.
Water.
Can you get me some water?
Good. You're good at the British accent now, only because I've been teaching. You've been getting better. But in all seriousness, yeah, we are definitely don't try and change me. So I'm trying to bring it back to that seriousness.
Yeah, no, you're all right. You're all right how you are. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So... Let's see. So we leave in LA in less than a week. We bought a house in Texas, and we're moving to all this new shit, and there's fear, and it's bittersweet, and all kinds of stuff going on for us.
Yeah, it's like exciting. At the same time, there's that, like we were just driving through LA last night, coming back from a dinner from a friend saying goodbye. We got the goodbyes going on, and we're driving through, and we were both sitting there quiet in the car for about 20 minutes. I don't know if you noticed that, but I was in my head, and I was just looking at all the streets and remembering all the memories I've had here, because we've been here, you've been 5 years to the day in December 1st, and I've been here 6 years, and it's very much bittersweet because you're so focused on leaving and, the new exciting adventures, you forget that actually, you want to be grateful for what LA has given to us, and what things we've achieved here and things. I was getting really nostalgic last night. I think you were doing the same thing. Yeah.
It's crazy. Little things just kind of start to pop up, and you're like, oh fuck, remember that? No, that was cool. So, yeah, of course, there's plenty to be grateful for us being in LA. So, I got a quick question for you: is when was the first time you dated an American?
You've never asked me this before. The first time. dated an American was when I moved to LA. So that, because, you know, I work.
So all that, yeah. So for anyone
Yeah.
that doesn't know, Kat worked on cruise ships for what, 3 years?
Yeah, just under 3 years.
So
Yeah.
that whole time in cruise ships, you were still just seeing guys with sheathed penises. You had never dated an American that's been clipped at that point, right?
Well, you know, there was some Europeans on there. There was some, you know, Jamaican people. So there was a plethora of penises, as one would say. But I've not been so knowledged onto a sheathed penis. I didn't actually know what the difference was until.
Right. How old were you the first time you finally saw a penis that was
circumcised. So is that sheathed or unsheathed? I
That's
get confused.
unsheathed. So a sheath is like a cover. So you had seen sheathed penises until a certain point.
Yeah.
You were how old when you
When I
finally saw
first
one
saw
cut?
it, yeah, 26.
Man, 26 years, never
Sheathed
saw an
penis.
uncircumcised penis.
Yeah.
God bless you.
I know. It was pretty. It was like learning the whole ball game again. Part of the fun.
It was
but-
like going from a wooden bat to an aluminum bat. It was just like, wow, fuck,
What's
this is
going
different.
on? It was all this like nothing to work with, so
Yeah.
I had to like relearn my whole skills of 26
Right.
years in life.
So, well, hopefully not 26 because then that mean like at 1 you were.
Yeah,
jerking
that's
off,
true.
so
Okay,
let's
I'll
not
wait.
get crazy.
Maybe like age of 7.
So,
First time I dated an American.
yeah. First time you dated Americans when you came to LA.
Yeah, because
All
on
right.
the ship, you know, you don't really date, but even so, I never even met an American that was dateable. So
And
it was in LA.
was it different? Was it different to date an American as opposed to a European? Mainly British men was what you had dated prior, right?
You know what though? Actually, I retract that statement. The first American I've ever dated is you, because the guy who I dated out here wasn't born in America, so he was. So do you know what? I've like.
We say in
literally,
Boston, we go, light just dawned on
You're my
Marblehead.
first and last American. Oh fuck!
Right?
I'm
Man,
screwed.
you didn't get enough.
I didn't get enough research. I didn't do enough. What was if there's more? You know, better dateable
There could
American.
be.
I got the
There
ring
could
on
be.
it now,
Yeah.
and
You can probably pawn that, though. You'll be all right.
yeah, no, I already got it. What do you call it?
Get you at least a week of rent free.
Yeah, I already got it valued. You know, I won't know.
Yeah.
I got at least 2 weeks of
get
rent
you a
in
coffee,
New
a few
York.
pack of cigarettes.
But you're the first American I've ever dated. Wow.
Okay. Well, and turns out you happen to be the first British person that I've
I
ever
am.
dated.
I thought so.
Right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So how is it something that you have to adapt to? Like, how do you adapt to living with somebody that's American, never mind American, from Boston, where like I feel like there's middle America, there's places, but then there's these distinct places where people come from and have like the way that I talk, the things
Yeah.
that I say, like for instance, right? Like when sometimes she'll be getting a little too big for her britches, right? Which is definitely something my dad said. I'm becoming my dad. We don't have to discuss that. I already
He
know it.
really is.
But for us, when someone does some shit and starts talking out the side of their neck, we go like, will you stop getting fucking fresh?
Oh my gosh.
And she didn't understand what that meant. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? It's like you're being a fresh prick. Like you're getting like being a wise Alec, you know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, you're
A
being
wise
yeah,
ass,
you're
a
being a
wise ass.
Smartenheimer or
Right.
whatever. So when I would say that, like, so now that's a thing that like if I say that, it really grinds her gears. And
oh, it grinds my gears.
what was
all
the
right.
other one that I said yesterday?
You say, oh, the balls on you? And I'm like looking down and I'm like, I did not grow any balls in this past space of 5 minutes during this argument. And I'm like, and he says, the balls on you to say that to me. And I'm like, huh? I've never heard of that saying before. I'm from
She'll
England.
do something sometimes, and I'm just like, the fucking balls on you. You know?
Yeah, and you say it so seriously and so like, yeah, the balls on you.
But what I feel like is that in the beginning of when I had first said it, it really got to you. But then kind of once it's explained and, you know, because we do have that, like, it's not a language barrier, but there are times like
Yeah.
even when you explain things sometimes and I don't understand what it is that you're telling me. And then you're like, I'm not saying it right. This is how I mean it, because the way that you say it sounds like super offensive, or it's like, and it's literally could be one word that's
Yep.
not supposed to be there. And it's like, wait, what the fuck did you just say?
Right.
And then you're like, no, it's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. And I feel like as time's gone on, right, where like you have two choices. You either learn to adapt and accept. And, you know, I mean, imagine what it's like to be with someone that's Russian or
Oh my
Brazilian or whatever
gosh.
that has like such a thick accent.
A
And
sheep's
I've
penis,
had
too.
I've had many relationships, not many, but a few where the
Many.
language barrier was so tough that you just can't do it because like I would fool around and be like, "Oh, you're such a goof," and they would be like, "What does mean you call me goof?"
Right, you
and I'm
lose that banter-ish.
I'm like, "What do you mean?"
that.
Like I'm just saying, like you're being a goof. No, I don't understand why you make fun. Call me goof.
Yes.
And I'm like, for fuck's sakes, dude, I'm not doing this. You know,
I agree with you.
It's too hard.
On the ship as well. I remember I fondled with an Italian meatballs once, and I didn't understand a word he was saying all the time, and I was like, this doesn't work because he doesn't get my British humor. And I think that's the best thing about you and me is when I met you, and you're from Boston, and obviously being New England, and you're the second part. You're very similar to England because you stole everything from us. You basically got me. Like you understood. Like I could rip. We could banter off each other. I could take the piss out of you. You could take the piss out of me. And we just, you took it and you'd give it back. And, it was great.
I think for me, it's Boston girls was a fucking nightmare for me, right? Because, they're you, but then also they'll spit in your face and want to fight, right? And, it's a nightmare. Not all, but 98%. And
sorry, Boston girl
and then
listeners.
Since I've been in LA, whether it's girls from LA or people that live out here, it's been really tough to... And I've been all over the States, and it's always been hard for me to find this balance, right? Of there's serious, there's love, there's all the things,
Right.
And I think for you, when the reason why this works so well is that you bring that Boston element, but leave the... because even when you are fresh and you do that shit, it's still nothing in comparison to some of the girls that I dated back home. You know? And when it gets to that level, that I used to thrive off that kind of toxic relationship. And now it's I don't have that fight in me anymore. It's not what I'm looking for.
Right. Exactly.
But there's a lot of things that we had to learn. I had to learn about HP sauce, right? Which is barbecue sauce.
It's not barbecue sauce.
What's the other shit that you have?
sauce.
That's salad cream, which is mayonnaise.
It's not mayonnaise. It's completely different. Please, British viewers, please, whoever's listening that is British, please, please, please explain to Shane that they are completely different things.
Do you want to tell everyone about how bland your cooking was until I have you to finally put some fucking seasoning on it?
Here's the thing, though, right? I'm cooking and you're eating and you're not saying anything, so I just keep cooking thinking you like it. But we don't season food as well as Americans do. I'll give you that.
But why do you think that is?
Because
why do British people just not give a fuck?
I mean, we don't add as much shit into our foods. Let's be honest. We don't have the preservatives. We don't add all that extra salt, MSG. If you look at, I'm not being funny, obesity in America is much greater than it is in England. I'm just saying, we kind of...
Oh, they fucking cornered that. They sure didn't corner the dentistry market, though.
That is true. Dentistry in England is shit. So, win some, you lose some. But I don't know. I
chewing on M80s over there.
My teeth are not too bad for
yours
a Brit.
Are great. And
I've had nothing
you just got that one little... kick that I
like. Kick, which you like, and I wanted to get rid of it, but
I think I was nervous about that too when we first met, and I was, fuck, I never started the time, cunt.
Oh, really? You were nervous about my teeth when we first met?
Anytime you meet someone British, you're worried
shit,
that next
British.
thing you know, there's going to be fucking piano keys that look like they've been hit with a fucking hammer, you know?
But you made me smile the first time we met, so you had a good gander at it, right? You had a good poke around.
What are we at, just so I can keep track?
13:30.
Damn.
So minus is what, fucking about 40?
Do you want to show them how you count, babe? Because I love how you count.
I have to take my fucking shoes off to do that.
Yeah, it uses every finger
Jesus
and
Christ,
toe
I
and
just
everything.
made it an hour and 40 minutes, whatever.
Living with an American guy, dating.
Yeah.
How about with you and me then as well? I know that you have never dated a British girl. I mean, have you ever slept with a British girl before?
No.
Really? So I was the first British.
Yeah, never.
Wow.
Yeah, I had never really dated much other than just girls from Boston for a fucking good grip of my life.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Well, let's talk about the fact of how most of this stuff came about was COVID and TikTok. Us discovering TikTok was kind of I feel like we broke balls way prior to that, but when we found out we could record it and watch them back and start, doing some different pranks, and I put your keys in water and put them in the freezer, and
Lord.
you got me I got you with the air horn, then you got me with the air horn. I covered a sponge in chocolate sauce and gave it to you for your birthday as a brownie.
That's fantastic.
And that made me
Best
pee a little
sponge
bit
cake ever.
in my underwear.
How about the time you told me that you were on the toilet pooping and I came home driving with all the shopping in my hands and scared the shit out of me in the car park? I thought it was someone was coming to attack me. I was ready to go, what do you call it, kunagi on their ass?
I think what I was thinking about though is how we set kind of boundaries, if you will, as far as like, because let's be realistic. Like I get upset and there's times that I'm not looking to be fuck around, and it's like, so like we have this thing where we, that I introduced with that my friend used to do 100 years ago, and when somebody yawns, you stick your finger in their mouth and it completely fucks your yawn up. It's the worst thing.
I haven't yawned properly for a year straight. I have not had one safe yawn in this household. In the Vitko household, you're never safe from a finger in your mouth when you try to yawn.
So now she does it back to me, right?
Oh,
but again, it's always that thing of like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Like, I do this to you. You're not allowed to do it back. And it's like, I got to remember that that's not how this works. It's not, I get to do all this shit to you and nothing happens to me, or I get upset. So we made kind of like boundaries of like, or, like truces, we call them, where it's like, no finger to ruin the yawn before 8 a.m.
Right.
So
otherwise,
from
Shane
5:30 to 7.
Mad.
Yeah, because like I forget and I'm like yawning first thing, and boom, finger on my mouth, and I'm like, yo, I'll fucking break your hand, right? And so we did like, all right, no finger ruining the yawn before 8 a.m. But after 8 a.m., forget it all day long.
It's a free for all,
right? So I think that that's the kind of thing where it's like, if I'm coming home from work or whatever, like, you don't know if I'm in a good mood or not. But what I've learned so much through sobriety, through work on myself, is that wherever I go, no matter, like, I just came from work. So on my way to work today, whatever's going on with you and I stays for when I get back to that situation, and I go and be present for work. When I leave work and come here and come to the studio, I leave work, whatever else out there, to be present in what I'm doing here.
Right.
And for so long, I was not able to do that, where whatever happened between you and I first thing in the morning, this is all pretend, by the way, but whatever happened with you and I in the morning, I brought to work, and then that spirals down, and then I bring all that here, and then it's just sitting here like this, and fuck off, and I don't care, and blah, 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 because all that resentment and all that baggage throughout the day. So I feel like when you can start to separate all that stuff is when, and plus it just makes life easier.
Makes life much easier. I think you've worked on that, and you have an easier time of doing that. I don't know if it's a woman thing. I don't want to generalize, but I think we carry our emotions. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So if I'm having a bad morning, say, for example, you and me are in a missed argument or something, you got to go to work, I've got to go do something, I got to talk to someone. I find it so hard to hide my emotions because I just wear them on my face that I will carry them around. So I definitely need to do a little bit more working on that, because I would love to live in that world where you're saying, you do one thing, close the door, open the other door, and you do another. So that's something that I definitely should work on a little bit more on myself. Yeah. But you're very good, though. So, like, when I've scared you and done these pranks, like, there's one thing that I know that other couples have come to me and other girls have said to me, damn, I couldn't do that to my husband. I couldn't do that to my boyfriend because they get so mad. And I'm like, to an extent, you get mad, but there's that little switch that switches in your head. Like, I see the madness, I'm filming it, and then all of a sudden you switch, and I see that smile on your face. And I'm like, he's kind of proud of me that I just got him like that. Right. And then I know he's down for it. And that's what I love about you. Like, probably like 89% of the time, you're always down for it. There's a few percentage, before 8 a.m., you're not, but you're always like, and same with me. Like, when you get me, I'm like, fucking asswipe, knobhead, cheese, wanker, bullshit, whatever. But I'm also like, yeah, he got me good. I'm proud of him. I'm going to try and top that next time. So where's the fucking air horn, by the way?
Yeah,
I'm still looking for that.
No,
I'm packing this whole house.
I had it hidden, and I think it might be in one of those things under the television. I'm not sure. Because it was in my sneaker, and then I took it out.
Right.
Well, maybe I just packed it. I'm not really
But I don't know. I've been looking for it this whole time in my plan. I've been like, I'm going to find that air horn. I'm going to get him in one of these moving boxes.
And it's funny because we'll watch these comments, and she'll tell me about these comments and people that comment on TikTok and whatever it is. And, again, it's like anything else. And I've talked about this before where, 100 people can be like, you guys are great, you're so funny. And then one person's just like, he's an asshole.
How do you let him speak to you like that? It's toxic. And
in the beginning, like, I used to do the same thing where I would want to respond and take it personal. And I had to talk to people that had a way bigger platform than me and be like, how do you deal with so many people negative and this and that? And they're like, I just don't, why feed into it? Because you're giving someone else what they want, which is that power to feed into their low self-esteem, right? So
They're getting a reaction.
So, and I think that's one of those things where you're like, oh, someone put this, and it's like, well, then just delete it, or like, who cares?
Yeah,
you know
you've
what I'm
taught me
saying?
that really well. Because at first I was like, hey, they can't say that about, you or whatever. And I want to back up and back you up and be like, hey, wanker, British in me. And then you're like, no, just leave it. And I do.
Yeah.
And I focus on the positive comments
Plus,
that we get.
even leave negative shit, because it's the fact that you take the time to even do that is engagement. So
right, exactly.
Good, man. It's not going to affect me.
There's no
either
bad
way.
press, right? They always used to say that. Like,
look, when I went to prison, it was not. They didn't write in the papers like, oh man, this unfortunate incident with this guy who's otherwise a really great man.
You went to prison? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, on a school field trip.
Right.
But what they wrote in the paper is not what happened.
Right.
It's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the article for so long, and I used to read it and be like, dude, that's not what happened. And like, how can you be allowed to put that out? You know?
I read that article too when we started dating, and you were so honest with me from the beginning. I think it was like the third date we were on, and you were like, this is me, this is my past. You put it up there, take it or leave it, pretty much. And I remember doing a little Google search on you, as all girls do when they first start dating someone. They cyber stalk them and see who their ex is and all this stuff like that. But I read that article.
Yeah, you can't find the remote, but you know what the fuck I did in 1997. You know what I mean? That's
so
every
true.
fucking girl.
But it's and I read those words and I'm like, and you've told me your story, and I'm like, it's amazing that you don't let it affect you, because it is out there and it's not truth.
The thing is that's another thing that I let bother me for so long is, oh my God, no matter what I do in life, if you Google me, that's what you find. And what I found is that I have to do more positive things that become searchable, so that is still going to be there, but it's going to be way down
Buried
the list.
in belief,
So
yeah.
if you want to pay attention to 2006 and not all these 4 other things that are posted before that I've done,
Right.
then that's on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have to live my life as though what happened in 2006 defines me for the rest of my life.
Exactly, because people grow and change and evolve. It's a lot of people have a small mind. They're like, oh, he's done something bad, or you've done something bad. That's you.
For another thing, for people that don't know, is I'm sober. I have a little over 2 years, 3 months, something like that, right?
Do you know what? You have 2 years, 3 months, and 2 days, because I'm really supporting.
How about that? So have you ever dated somebody in sobriety?
No. Dated many people who, not many people.
Needed it.
Dated many people who needed it, and especially coming from England, we're big drinkers. You go to the pub every
That's how Boston is.
weekend, right? And you go
We're
and you
also
shoot the
big
shit.
heroin users, but
Yeah, not as much heroin, but drinkers. And I've never dated you were my first sober American, and it is different, but it's actually been all positive in my life, because I choose not to drink for I'm not
that's what I was
sober.
going to say. How has it affected your lifestyle?
It's only been a positive. Like, it's so funny when we first started dating and we go on dates like that were like actual activities. Like, we go get ice cream. I hadn't been with a guy to go get ice cream for so long, because the normal thing is go to dinner, have drinks, go get a bit tipsy, do those things. And we actually started doing activities and things that you kind of made me re-enjoy life again with the little things which had been lost in the past of going out drinking, getting drunk. So it's only been positive on my life. And then I've also chosen, like, I want to be supportive, and I wouldn't want to be, sitting there drinking on my own anyway. So it's affected my health in a positive way. And I tried to drink one time, as a special celebration, and it didn't affect well with my body. And I was like, it's just the way my life has grown. I've had those years, and now it's time to level up a bit, and I enjoy it. I mean, we've already picked out our champagne for our wedding, right, babe?
Yeah.
Martinelli apple sparkling cider. If you want to sponsor us, there's available spots for Boston and the Brit.
Martinelli sparkling apple juice. What was your experience with drinking or drugs or anything prior to us meeting? Do you think you ever had an issue with that kind of thing?
Oh yeah. I was a late bloomer, so I was really good up until the age of, I would say, 22, and then I started working on cruise ships, and I'd have these 2 months off where, for 6 months straight, you're drug tested, you're not doing anything. Then you'd have those 2 months off. So you'd have a month kind of like, oh shit, I've just been let out of this cage,
right.
I'm free. I can get up, I can do whatever I want. I'm not working, I have money in my bank. So I tested the waters a few times. I'd go traveling, and I think it really hit me hard when I moved to LA, because I got into a circle of, I worked in the restaurant business and you're staying up late. And then after work, it's a Friday night. You finish work at 11:30. What are you going to do? Well, all the bars and the cool clubs pretty much close in 1 a.m. too, but you want to stay up and party. So, you go try the cocaine, you go try and drinks. And, I ended up in that circle and I realized it was becoming an issue. I had a few close encounters of I could feel my body, and I was very aware that it was wrong to do, because my mom had always brought me up as, no drugs. It was very much like, this isn't me. And I remember it was before I met you, it was like a wake up call, and I was going home and I said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't be in this party lifestyle. I had a lot of friendships around me that were like, you met a few of them because they were kind of eating them off, that were just like, out every night doing this. And I was like, I need to get myself away from them. And I actually booked a flight and went to England. And I stayed there for 2 weeks with my family. They didn't know. And actually, this is probably the first time they'll ever be hearing about this. If they watch this, they don't know that I struggled a lot with that on my own, because I never got help. I never went to treatment, and did that because I didn't feel like it was a problem. It was just the crowd I was in.
Do you feel like you had to detox in a way, though?
Did
it affect you?
I mean, I don't think we've even talked about this, but yeah. I went through a withdrawal stage for about a week when I was going to England, because I'd been, partying, 5 times a week for about 3 months straight. And then so when I went to England, cold turkey, I stopped juuling and I stopped the drugs straight away. I stopped drinking. And then I remember I was being tired for days and my mom just thought I was jet lagged. And I was like, no, I'm in my head. I'm like, I'm detoxing. But ever since then, I would never go back to that. I never missed it. I knew that if I would let it go further, it would become a problem. And I wouldn't want that to be.
I think it's so fascinating to alcoholics, because we have what we say, like, you're either an alcoholic or a problem drinker, right? Mm-hmm. And the difference is that an alcoholic, there's no such thing as like, whoa, this has been nuts and like I gotta stop. I mean, nothing stopped me from prison to death to being hurt to losing everything to hurting people. I mean, nothing is enough to go, whoa, these severe consequences. It has to really become this work of internal work, and like, I have an issue, a disease, a malady, and I need to address it and learn to arrest it, to live with it.
Right.
Whereas a problem drinker is like, holy shit, this is out of control. I went to the hospital. That was a bad trip. Yeah. I almost got in an accident. I got arrested. I'm never doing this again.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I felt like.
And, I think it was like, a little worrisome, I guess, when you hear that thing, because here's the thing is being an alcoholic and somebody in recovery is, you are worried. You're worried to tell somebody the truth. God forbid you mention that it was drugs also. And then, like, are you going to think I'm dirty and like that I'm a piece of shit and all this stuff that I tell myself.
Right.
And to get honest with somebody about that, and so that they know what's going on. And then I feel like that, it's another thing for someone to accept that and be like, I think most people go like, okay, I accept that, but just so you know, I'm still going to drink. I still smoke weed. I still do my thing. And to me, it's like, that's fucking a little bit selfish. Like, because why? Right. I don't know. Or is it selfish? I'm not really sure.
I think when I met you and you told me you were sober, and, I never thought that you would...
Like, if you were a daily pot smoker and we met, granted, I would never put it on you to be like, hey, don't smoke weed anymore. Right. But if you care enough about that person, does it come down to like, this is me and it's more important than what's going on with you? Like, I smoke weed, deal with it? Or is it something that you just don't do anymore?
It's something that if you really care for that person, you care for their well-being, you adapt to them as well. Like, that's a relationship, different behaviors, you change that. Now, I wouldn't say that I did it. I was already sober when I met you for like, a month and a half. So I was already at that stage where I was done. I would never really want to, not sober as in say, like drugs, I would say, I would maybe have the occasional glass of wine, but meeting you and being supportive, that's what you do. You support each other. And I think that that's only benefited my life. I mean, me not drinking doesn't
But I think
stop.
what helps too is me always making it your choice. Like,
yeah,
no matter
never,
where
ever
we
told
go,
me not
I'm like, if you want to drink wine, you want to do, like, again, I didn't get sober and expect the world to conform to Shane sober.
Right.
Nobody drinks, nobody smokes weed, nobody do anything like that anymore because he it's in jeopardy. Nah. I changed my perspective so that I could adapt and be like, if you were falling down drunk, drinking boxed wine all the time, I'm cool with that.
Right.
But even that isn't enough that makes me go like, oh my God, I want to do that. It makes me go like, this is not the situation I want to put myself in.
That's I think it's the timing though. When you and me met, I mean, I believe in the universe and timing, and I think that you came into my life when it was a perfect timing for me. I was done and dusted with my...
I'm basically a guardian angel.
Right, exactly. Where's the wings? Fairy tale.
They got burnt off.
Like Lucifer. Exactly. Oh, shit. You came into... This is for our story, though. You came into my life at the right time. And, you know, if you'd have come into my life... Well, actually, you did come into my life before we actually got together, and that wasn't the right time. You want to know why? Because I was still partying and doing all that stuff. And it just made sense when you came into my life that I had that revelation on my own. It was like the universe was setting me up to meet you and be in a relationship that is sober. And I tell you what, I wouldn't go back. I don't miss drinking. Like, I don't miss that. I mean, I think when you do it for so long in years, you kind of like get it out your system. And I'm just ready to level up to the next stage of life and what comes with that. And I tell you what, being sober and not drinking and having days where you wake up and you have the whole day because you're not like hungover and stuff, it's really great. You can get so much stuff done.
I don't, even when we met in the beginning and you'd sleep till fucking 10:30, 11, and now you're up at 5:30 in the morning walking 2 dogs.
I know, I'm up before you now putting the coffee on. I tell you what, this gentleman has it made. Not how many times have you had to make coffee for yourself in 8 months? In the morning.
Pretty often.
No, come on now. I make him coffee every single day. I get up and you know what?
Little fucking barista.
I love it though. And he gives me a kiss in the morning and a kiss at night. That's my important thing. And you know, we sleep with separate. This is another thing I wanted to mention while we're on here. Sleep with separate duvet covers because you sleep so much better. I sleep so much better. And
first of all, she sleeps like she's in the fucking North Pole. She's got fucking pajamas on, flannel pajamas on,
so
this
sexy.
Big, huge fucking thick blanket, a heating pad, and I'm got the AC on 68 in my underwear, sweating to death. With the thinnest blanket you've ever seen in your life, just because I need something over me because of that like weird whatever the fuck.
It's so sexy. There's like a mountain next to me.
But it's like having separate blankets is like you never got to worry about the covers and shit. And it's like
we just slept in Big Bear with the same sheet, and I swear I don't even know if I told you, but in my head I kept it in. But I was like, this guy stole the covers like 4 or 5 times, and I'm freezing. And I'm like,
what doesn't help is we
get
got an 80-pound dog, and he'll plop down in the middle, and once he's on there, that's it. Whatever you have for blanket, that's it. There's no like pulling it unless you get him up or whatever. So, I think that's another thing is the sleeping together thing and learning each other's patterns. Like, you know, we'll do the cuddle stuff and watch TV and whatever, but like due to the side that you sleep on is like I have a bad shoulder, so it's like I can only do it for so long, and then I start to lose feeling, so we got to stop. But when it comes, I want to know how many people, when it comes to bed, it's like, okay, love you, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah,
you know?
I actually think more
I don't
couples
want
do
to cuddle
that.
when we fall asleep. I don't want you touching me. It's hot.
Yeah.
Just get the fuck away from me and let me go to bed.
It's a hug and roll situation. Like, you know, hug for 10 minutes, see you the fuck later. And I think that's great because we're both on the same page. Because I know I have met people and I have had, you know, dated someone who used to want to fall asleep with their nose nuzzled into my neck. And
That's
even
some real fucking beta shit right there.
Right. And I'm like, yeah, clearly it didn't work and they were British with a sheathed penis. So.
All right. So I want to know. I see this thing you got over there too.
Oh yeah. Do you know what? Should I bring it out right now, or do you want to know? Okay, so.
Oh, actually, you know what? Let's save it for like the last.
Okay.
I don't know, 5
few
minutes. Or so.
All
That's
right.
what we'll wrap
I got
up
him
with.
a present.
Do quarantine 2020 and how it's affected us, or the protection thing.
Let's do quarantine 2020. We'll do that protection thing another time.
So, 2020's been probably the best year of my fucking life.
Me too. And I feel guilty saying that live on air because it really has been probably the best year of my life.
But why? Like, why us and not other people? Why are we not? I mean, even, you know, I do my other podcast. It's very controversial, and we talk about a lot of shit, and people, you know, I feel the way I feel. Like, you know, I'll let everyone know, like, I don't vote. I never have voted, and I feel like it keeps me more in the middle of the road. Like, do I lean more to how conservatives think and vote and stuff? Yes. but not enough to say that this is my party. Because me and someone talked the other day, and it's like, when's the last time a president has truly affected my life?
Right.
With the exception of Obama getting elected and making Obamacare for people that didn't have health care, and you paid $200 and all of a sudden you had health care. Other than that, in my 40 years on this earth, no one that's been president has affected how much money I made, what job I got, where I lived, none of that. So to me, it comes down to like, who's governing my city? Who's the mayor? Who are the city officials that are doing school stuff and doing this and that? And, but so the point being, I forget what the fuck I was saying because PTSD, but,
we were going on 2020 and how it's been a good year for
2020
us.
has been a good year for us, and it hasn't been for a lot of people, and it had the ability to not be. You lost your job.
Yeah.
That was $2,000-$3,000 a month that we lost as a couple.
Even more.
I lost a lot of my work, and I went from making this much to this much, right? And then to almost making nothing. Now, in that time frame, I also started a podcast and a clothing brand, and then started learning to make logos and doing some stuff, and had to adapt through Zoom. And you know, I think what's his name, Brad Lee or Brad Leah,
right?
And
the real Brad
excuse
Lee.
me, I'll never forget. In the beginning, I heard him say something about like something along the lines of like, it's not the strong that survive. It's not the smart that survive. It's the one that are willing to adapt to change.
Absolutely.
And that just kept ringing in my head. Like, you know, the truth is that when I got sober 2 years ago, I fell into this acting thing, not even on purpose, and had some successful things with here and there. Not even, you know, these Hollywood successes, but things that me personally, I never thought I would ever be able to do. The fact I've been on a movie set, the fact that I've done a play, the fact that I've got paid to do a commercial, all these little things that people don't, you know, dream about doing or come here and try to do and never get to do, right? And I was into that, and I think that I had a lot of potential for things, and COVID changed that, and I wasn't willing to sit around and wait to see if when this ends, that's still a possibility. If I was 26, maybe, but I'm 40. So I had to decide like some things that I wanted to do and what can be the next step. And I got to do that with you. Now, with that being said, though, I did still, because I am, I guess you'd say, an essential worker because I work in the healthcare field. And I still got to go to work. And I mean, life really didn't change all that much for me, with the exception of having to wear a fucking mask all the time and not being able to go to the gym or go out and do like the little things that we do, you know? So, but here I am still kind of like, I get up with a routine and go to work, and you're home a lot and taking care of 2 fucking insane dogs and taking care of the house and doing all the shit. And then I come home and I feel like, you know, we've got to this point a few times where you get resentful. You get resentful that I have a life and that you don't. You feel like you're not doing enough. And the key thing that you feel like you don't have is what?
Purpose. Oh shit, I lost you for a second. Those mouth lips weren't moving. I couldn't see between my mustache and beard. Purpose. No, it's true, because I went from working. I've worked since I was 14 years old. My first job was in a car wash. No, it was that's how I learned my cheap skills. I was in a hand car wash, you know, round the outside and in the middle. I did learn some skills there, but, you know, I've come from car wash into waitressing. My main thing has been waitressing, you know, because that's given me the ability to...
At Hooters?
No, I was always in the classy places.
I thought you were at Hooters.
That wasn't me, I promise you. I'm not, you know, well endowed for Hooters.
Right. You got fucking bombs.
Anywho, I served, and I've never been without a job longer than a month. You know, other than those 2 months, I guess, in working on cruise ships, but that was always, I was still employed. So for me to just suddenly change
Did you guys get paid on those, or is there some kind of like...
So you get paid in tips on a cruise ship. So
but what happens the 2 months you're off? You just have to
no,
work
you're
with
off.
What
You just save your shit because you know you're not paying rent for those 6 months, so you save up. I mean, that's why I would go back. Most people don't want to go back. Sometimes after my first contract, I was like, "Fuck this, I don't want to go back." But I ran out of money, and I was like, "This is the best way to make 20 grand or something real quick." Not like that, babe. Maybe I'm joking. Anywho's cut this shit. So let's bring it back into my purpose in living day-to-day life. When I first lost my job and you were still kind of going out and working, we had just moved in together, and I was rediscovering myself and what it's like not to be employed, and it was very uneasy for me at first, and I know you saw me struggle with that, and I was very much, kind of codependent on you a little bit more because I was leaning into your life and what are you doing in the day and what's going on? Tell me about it. A little bit like that. Spike, what's that ad? What's that American? Where we going, Spike? What we doing? Because I didn't have any purpose anymore. My job had gone, and even though, serving, and I was working 5 nights a week, and I used to work night times, I had to adapt to being able to have night times to free. What do I do with myself? But it was so nice because when it started to come forward, I got to go to who I really truly am, and that's that homemaker, and I was able to cook dinners and do all these things that for 15 years I've never been able to do. At the core of me, I'm a British girl. I want to make a home, I want to make a nest, and it's now that when you helped me realize that taking care of a house, taking care of dogs, and just being a good person to you and supporting you, it gave me a little bit more purpose, and I've managed to adapt. But within that, I've also got more creative, and I've got ideas, for all these different things and avenues that I want to better myself in, and things that I want to move forward with, like the tea company, and all those kind of new ideas came to me, which I don't think would have happened if I was still on that kind of grind with working for 6 hours a night, getting up, sleeping in late, getting up, doing that. So, it's been a positive for me in that way. And, we got engaged and all this stuff. I don't know if would have happened right away if we hadn't got that quality time to spend with each other, because you see each other in a relationship on an average week. If you're working 2 hours a day, they say the average person you spend time with your husband and wife is 2.5 hours a day.
Fucking pray for that day.
No, sorry, not a day, a week. I meant to say a week, right?
2.5 hours a week?
Yeah, because I think it was, maybe it was a day.
Sign up for that? Where's
I
the
need to
fucking
check that.
Jesus
right,
Christ.
2.5 hours a day. But on quarantine, you and me have literally spent, because you work, but you still don't work a huge 9-to-5 job. You come back home, 2 o'clock, I'm there, and we've really gotten through that stage in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 dogs. And I think we deserve PD Blue badges or Blue Peter badges because we've really got through the critical stages. Yeah, if anyone can get us a
fucking Blue Peter badge, I'll pay you money for a Blue Peter badge. I'm not
a real one.
I'm not writing them a fucking letter as to why.
If anyone doesn't know Blue Peter, it was a very popular British TV show, and they used to give out badges to people who did really special things. I never got one. It was my lifelong dream to get one.
But that's how she breaks my balls. Every time I do something, she go, "Yeah, great, baby, fucking Blue Peter badges."
And he came and said PD Blue badge one day, and I'm stuck with that.
I get it. I get a fucking PD Blue badge. I think, again, it comes down to adapting, because I don't want people to get this impression that what I require from you is that it's 1930 and you stay at home and clean and cook and do the shit. You do these things, and I do my best to help you out. But again, if you aren't able to work, how do I adapt to that, right? So if I hadn't been able to work, which I didn't, I had to adapt to that. Right. And I learned how to use Illustrator, and I taught myself some things, useful skills for what is coming next, right? So it's the same thing where, because of the situation, okay, adapt to it and do what you can and know that you're useful, and you are taking stress out of my life, which in turn helps our relationship. Now, I'm not saying be a stay-at-home, never do anything again. When the time comes or when something happens, yes, move on. Now the dogs are both old enough, we can both this. And I think it's becoming grateful for the other person and making sure they know that what they're doing is important. Because if I kept coming home going, babe, you ever going to do something with your life? Right. You going to fucking do anything? You going to just sit around all day? You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if I came home every day and you had never got out of bed and you were in your pajamas.
I mean, I don't think one quarantine day I ever stayed in my pajamas. I mean, I could stay in my comfies and do things, but I always got up and did stuff. You've got up
and you showered and you had things to do and blah, blah, blah. And
I made myself a to-do list, even though some days I didn't have anything to do. I would make sure I did things just to keep busy. And I think that's the adapting and, filling your life with things, that you got to do. So.
Where I learned that the most was the military and really prison, because when you get sent to solitary confinement, you don't have anything.
I don't know how you
so you'll either lose your fucking mind or you got to start to figure it out. And it starts with singing a fucking song over and over and over, to counting, to visualizing and shit in your head, and then maybe finally you get a book. And but the thing is after a week or quicker than that, but a few days, you just are on a regiment where like,
It's routine.
you know, and it becomes you're forced to adapt to it or you'll lose your fucking mind.
I did almost lose my mind a couple of times, and you've been a great help to me because you've gone through such shit, you know, prison and military. You've been able to bring me back down to ground and say, is this really the worst situation we're in right now? Are we really in this crappiest moment right now? We are here together, safe in an apartment, kind of safe, you know, that's another story for another day. So really, it's not the shittiest thing I've been in. I've been in shittier places. When I worked on the ships, was harder life. So you know what? I've actually become grateful for the time that it's given us to do all these things and now focus on our new future. And I've got all these ideas. And again, watching you do the Illustrator and do those things, it inspired me. And I think it's like a seesaw. You know, there might be times in our relationship that one day you're not able to work and I'm not grinding, and I'll support you and you support me, and we just go back and forth. It's, you know, it's one of those things. And as long as you don't build resentment and you just, you know, love each other and support each other, I think it works. And that's why it works really well for us. So.
It's coming. I'll have a bad hip in no time.
I know, right? That TV you're moving later, all of a sudden, the bad hip, babe. I can't go out to work today.
So I think make sure you tune into the next episode where we will be doing this from Texas.
Yeah.
And we will talk a little bit more about
Y'all.
some of the reasons why we chose to leave LA, including the shooting that took place in the apartment next to us. So we'll get into that next episode. So make sure you tune in. So before we take off, let's get into whatever the fuck it is you have over here, this little book.
So I have got Shane a little present. I'm from a place called The Wirral. How do you say it, babe?
The Wirral.
Sure. The Wirral.
And that's where?
Across the pond from Liverpool. So some call me a plastic scouser. So people who are from Liverpool are actual scousers. I'm a plastic scouser. I'm a little bit posher, you know, a little bit like the suburbs of Boston, you know.
Right.
So that's where we get on. So this is called Scouse. I don't know if you can see it. Scouse one-liners. So a proper Scouse accent, you know, how to do a proper Scouse accent. Now I turned over a few pages that I want you to read out. Yeah, give him a whirl. Give him a whirl. Have a flick through, you know? Take a little look.
So this one's right here, the first dog-eared one?
I'm not sure which one. We'll try them. They're all good.
Jesus Christ, that's racist. She's seen more Japs' eyes than an Oriental optician. She's seen more Japs' eyes than an Oriental optician.
I'll say it properly when you say. Keep going.
All right, go
She's
ahead.
seen more Japs' eyes than an Oriental optician.
But what do you...
Do you know what a Japs' eye is?
No, Japanese?
No.
Oh.
That's not... So a Japs' eye...
That's what I was like, Jesus, that's so racist.
So we were talking about it earlier in the show. A Japs' eye is... You know, a sheathed penis is a bell end.
Oh,
a Japs' eye, like a penis, like it's the end of the penis.
And an Oriental optician.
So it's basically
that's
saying,
fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of
it's
a
like
hooker.
shagging the sleeve off a wizard's cloak.
That's a good one.
Is that beating off a sheathed penis?
Sure, we'll go with that. There's another one. A few I folded down near the end. You got to kind of whacked out.
Okay. Sorry, mate. I can't put small objects in me mouth or I'll choke.
Do it again. It's more.
Sorry, mate. I can't put small objects.
That's what I said to you on our first date, right?
Or I'll choke.
I'm joking. Did that one just go over the head? Woo.
No, I get it. It's like you can't suck a little penis.
All right, yeah. We all know that's not true, though.
More Japs' eyes.
It's a good, so you can study that and you can come, you know.
That's pretty good.
Come at me.
She's had more semen than the ducks.
She's had Marcy.
Why is this so grotesque? Is there any that are just like not sex related?
Grotesque? You sound terrified, babe.
Well, I wasn't ready for all this. I thought, you know,
Are you blushing? I see that. Is that the light or are you blushing?
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. What is it?
She's got a mouth on her like a camel eating toast.
She's got a mouth on her like a camel eating toast.
Why toast, though?
Because, have you ever seen a camel eat toast?
Anything, though, a camel just goes...
But that's the Scouse humor is what I'm saying is like, actually, you know, I'm a plastic Scouse, so I'm a little bit more railed back than that. But that's, if you go to Liverpool, that's what we sound like.
Does that mean that she's got a mouth on it like a camel eating toast, like she's eating disgusting, or that she can handle the hogzilla?
It's however you take it, baby. However you digest that. I'm excited. You know, Shane has never been to England yet?
I have not.
I know. So we're going to definitely we'll have to take Boston and the Brit to England sometime and do the adventure travels when all this COVID is over. I want to see how the Brits respond to you and your accent.
You're a spherical arsehole. No matter which way you turn,
Why am
you're
I
an
Irish?
arsehole from every angle. Oh, all right. You're a spherical arsehole.
I'm still Irish.
You're a spherical arsehole.
Let me see.
No matter which way you turn, you're an arsehole from every angle. I don't know. I think it's because it's throwing me off with the arse and you're.
Yeah, because of year. Yeah, so in Liverpool, you go, yeah, like, yeah, mate, like,
I
yeah,
do.
yeah, spittle asshole. No matter which way you turn, you're asshole from every angle.
Yeah,
That'd be a
good.
proper
That's
Scouse
pretty
accent. With a face like yours, every day is Halloween. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Because I sound like
That's
that
a good one,
when
isn't
when I go back to England, my accent's gonna come out
I
much
know, when
more.
you talk to your fucking mother on the phone, it comes out.
Do you know
I'm like,
what?
Jesus, look at this.
My
fucking
mum
mom.
asked him, what did my mother ask you the other day on the
If
phone?
I really talk like this, or if I put on American when she's on, and I'm like, what the fuck does turn on American? I'm like, this is me.
She was
all
like,
the
is
time.
that what you sound like
Yeah, it's like, you
always?
sound like no, I got a more high pitched voice.
Yeah, she thinks that you put it on for when you talk
Yeah.
to her, but I'm like, no, this is how
that's it.
he sounds every day, mum.
All right, so thank you guys very much for tuning in to episode 1 of Boston and the Brit.
I know.
Some things to be on the lookout for. We will be hoping to put new episodes out soon. You can find us on YouTube and Apple Music, Apple Podcast, Spotify, at Boston and the Boston and the Brit podcast. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Boston and the Brit. Kat's personal page is at Kat Daya. Mine is at
Cat.Daya.
Yeah, at cat.daya. Mine is at shane.vitko.
TikTok too, Boston and the Brit. That's where we've got
I
a
did
lot
that,
of fun.
but,
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Just
it's
checking.
Cool. Yeah, just
You know.
fucking double up on it.
I don't think
It's
you
good.
did. We'll watch it back and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Tea Company as well is coming out in
so,
January.
Also be on the lookout for Boston and the Brit Tea Company.
Mm-hmm.
We will have monthly subscriptions. We got all
Yeah.
kinds of good ideas. We got a logo. We got all
got
kinds of stuff coming soon.
Good
so
flavor is coming out.
for all you tea drinkers out there, and homosexuals, we got tea coming your way.
That's really going to sell it. I'm going to get an advert for you to do that.
It's raining men.
Sure.
Hallelujah, it's raining men. All right, guys,
On
thank
that
you very
note,
much.
Thank you so much.
Love you, babe.
Love you.
All right, bye.
Bye.